What's going on, everyone? Yesterday's game against the Indiana Pacers was completely inexcusable. There's no way you lose that game. You can't afford to lose that game. And the Lakers are just bottom of the barrel right now, right? And it's not looking good for this team. They can't afford to lose games like this. They can't afford to lose games, period. And December becomes an absolute juggernaut. They would have won last night. That would have been great. They get to play Portland. They could beat Portland. All of a sudden, you're 9-11. You're looking good. You're kind of back on track. And then you got to go into this juggernaut that is December. And then the idea is to do a trade around December 15th, right? Like that's the idea, right? After the 15th, a lot of players become available. Also, some of the Laker guys, Damian Jones, for example, who's just kind of on the back burner now. He's a guy that becomes available that you could add on to kind of help match salaries for certain players, stuff like that, right? It makes sense. And also, we got this report that the rumor LA will begin exploring roster upgrades after December 15th. So that kind of fits into what keeps being reported. But the problem is that the way that the Lakers are playing right now, what are we going to get that's really going to turn us around, right? I still don't think the Buddy Hield to Miles Turner deal does anything. They weren't great last night. They didn't look very good. Buddy Hield was a non-factor. Miles Turner was a non-factor in many ways either. All of his points basically came from just Halliburton setting him up and just, getting rebounds and putbacks and stuff. Outside of that, he wasn't really the Miles Turner that we had hoped, right? I mean, he was basically a Thomas Bryant out there, right? Thomas Bryant could do the same stuff, have Russell Westbrook just kind of give him lobs and, easy passes and allow him to get easy buckets, right? And I don't think that our biggest need is, we saw in the Pacers game again, is perimeter defense. And look, I think a lot of it is just the Lakers got laxed. I think the Lakers, they were like, oh, we're up 17. We're going to win this game. Every time, they cut into the lead, we were able to get the lead back and all was right in the world. And I think that the Lakers just underestimated the Indiana Pacers. They looked at it as like, we're the better team. We can go and we can get this win. It's not a big deal. We're fine, right? And then they kept tacking away. And then next thing you know, boom, game winner. And you knew it was coming. If you watched that game, as it progressed and as it got closer to the end, you knew okay, this is the game that the Lakers are going to just drop the ball. They're going to lose the game. And then boom, the game winner. You're just like, you knew it was coming. I was upset. I was mad, but I wasn't shocked, right? Because it was yep, this is the Lakers season in a nutshell right now. And they need a way to turn it around. I really believe the Lakers need a guy that can score in the half court. That's the biggest problem. Outside of guys just standing around, right? And no ball movement. Even Darvin Ham, he even addressed it and said, hey, that's on me. Ball movement needs to be better. Guys need to be moving without the ball. There was just a lot of stagnant offense. But the problem is we don't really have anybody that can just go get a bucket. We don't have any natural scorers, right? LeBron can score, but a lot of his scoring, unless he's just shooting the ball lights out, a lot of it is at the rim, just using his big size, big body to get to the hoop, right? Anthony Davis usually needs to be set up, right? You got to give him the ball, dump it down to him, let him go get the work. Lonnie Walker, he can score, but again, he's a guy that scores primarily at the basket, unless he gets set up in a catch-and-shoot three. He's not a natural scorer. He's not a guy that you can just give the ball to and he can just go get you a bucket. Shoot in the mid-range, shoot from the outside, get to the hole, do a little bit of everything. Now, obviously, Kyrie Irving would be the dream scenario, but in reality, who knows what's going to happen? And if he ever does come at this point, the Nets, I think the Nets are just kind of holding on to him for hope and, and dreams rather than doing the right thing. Maybe he comes next season, but that doesn't help us this season, right? And so unless Brooklyn just decides, okay, let's move off of Kyrie isn't saving the day. So who else can we get that's out there that is actually realistically available? And the more that I think about it and the more that I watch the recaps and stuff of the game last night and stuff, and I just think we really need Terry Rozier. I really do. I think because Terry Rozier, one, he's a proven scorer. Two, he's a guy that we know is very likely available. Three, he's a guy that probably wouldn't cost very much for the Lakers as far as assets go. We could take Patrick Beverley, Kendrick Nunn, go get Terry Rozier. He's a guy that can play on the ball. He can play off the ball. He can create his own shot. He can get to the hoop. He can shoot from three. He can shoot the mid-range. He's upgraded his scoring this year. He's averaging around 23 a game, at least last time I checked. And so he's a guy that I think could really help this team. And look, the team definitely needs shooting. We definitely need 3-and-D wings, which is, again, last night was a perfect example of why we don't need Buddy Hield and Miles Turner, right? Because again, interior wasn't the problem. It was the perimeter. Again, same thing with the Spurs, same thing with anything else. We cannot guard people outside of the paint. And the issue is, and I understand from a lot of people's perspective, is like, well, there aren't a lot of like big 3-and-D style guys that are available. Like that's the, grand prize for every team. And I do get that. But even some guys that have length, right? Like, Josh Richardson, stuff like that. And I do think the Spurs deal might be one of the best deals, but I'm really leaning towards the Hornets deal. After watching the Spurs game, after watching this Indiana game, the more that I look at like what are the needs and what team could solve those needs, I really think the Hornets are that team. If we could get Terry Rozier, PJ Washington, and Kelly Oubre, if we could get those three guys, or in a perfect world, get Miles Bridges, which would be ideal, but I really think that they're going to keep Miles Bridges. I think PJ Washington is what will be obtainable. If we can get Washington, Kelly Oubre, and Terry Rozier, I really think that might be the best deal. I really do, because you get Terry Rozier, who can go get you 20 a night if you need to. He can operate. He's a guy that can just operate in the half court. He can handle the ball. He can run your offense if you need him to. He can play off the ball, like I said, if LeBron's running the offense, and be a catch and shoot guy. Shoots 38% for his career from three. So he'd automatically be one of, if not our best shooters on the Lakers. But it's his ability to just go get a bucket. He's more of a natural scorer than what a Walker or a Reeves or guys like that are, right? And Terry Rozier, he's in many ways like a Kyrie light, right? Kyrie is like Kyrie, right? He's the impact Kyrie has is insane. Terry Rozier isn't to that level, but he is what the Lakers could really need and really use. A slashing threat, a scoring threat, a guy that you have to actually guard and maintain, right? We saw a lot of like double teams, right? If you have a guy like Terry Rozier who could just go get a bucket, then you don't have to worry about it. He's not a terrible defender. He's not the greatest defender in the world, but he is solid enough for what we need. And then if you could get like a PJ Washington, that would really help. And then also, a Kelly Oubre, there's a 3-and-D style guy. He's not the greatest three-point shooter, but he has his moments, right? But he is a guy that can go get a bucket also. He's a guy that can go get you 20 also. And same thing with PJ Washington. So that would give you three guys that on any given night could give you, 20 plus points. But you have a more natural scorer in Terry Rozier. Even if they just go get Terry Rozier, I really think Rozier would help a lot. I really do. I think Terry Rozier could help this team tremendously. My problem is that like, I really believed we were a piece or two away, but we really might be further, right? Like, it's just, we don't have, and I don't know if it's just a consistency thing or just a mental thing or what, but we just were not able to close out game. We finally had everything go right? Guys were hitting shots. LeBron, Westbrook, Davis were all having, solid games. We were just a better team all night, right? I mean, we had the lead pretty much the most of the night, and we couldn't get it done. We cannot close out games, and we need a guy that could close out games, right? Like a DeMar DeRozan, somebody like that, right? That has the last 3 years or 2 years or whatever, he's been statistically the best closer in the game. Like, we need somebody like that, because LeBron's not closing games out. Davis isn't able to close games out. Russell Westbrook was our offense down the stretch. Like, that should not, I mean, look, I love Russell Westbrook. I've defended Russell Westbrook countlessly, but he should not be our answer down the stretch. He should not be the only one generating offense. He scored like 7 points down the stretch, but we couldn't stop them. And then they had all the momentum, right? Russ hits a three, and then immediately we don't get back on defense, and they hit another three. And just every time Russ would score, they would neutralize it on the other side. And it's like, I really think we might be several pieces away, right? I mean, I said we were several pieces away a while ago. Like, we needed almost like a whole roster rehaul. And I changed my tune a little bit, because I looked at the team. I was like, okay, you got Schroeder, who's came in. He's been solid for us. He's sort of picking it up. And I expect him to continue to get better and improve. But he also, the good thing about Schroeder is that he makes Kendrick Nunn, Patrick Beverley expendable. He also makes, if you do trade Russ, easier to burden, right? And so I was like, okay, like, we got him. Thomas Bryant, He's given us, 8 a night, 8+ a night, which is nice. That's awesome. Backup big, cool, right? So maybe we don't need that. Like, how does this team look fully healthy, right? And then last night, it looked like, okay, first time this team's fully healthy, and we're killing it. We're looking good. We're about to run, the Pacers out the gym. And again, we just cannot close. And I think a lot of it is we don't have anybody that can truly score in the half court. We have all of our guys that score, all score in the perimeter, in the paint, and or they need to be set up out on the perimeter. Where Terry Rozier can basically score from anywhere, right? He could give you the mid-range. He could give you he could penetrate and get to the hoop if you need him to, but he could also shoot from the three. He's a guy that, you could inbound the ball to, and he could just go get you a bucket if you needed to. Again, it's who's available that we can actually acquire and obtain. And I really think Terry Rozier could be that guy. And I really do think he would be hugely beneficial. I just think, Rob Pelinka is going to have his work cut out for him, definitely. But the more I look at this Lakers roster, the Spurs game, the Pacers game, like these games, I think the one common denominator is we need another like go-to scorer player, period. But I really think Terry Rozier could alleviate a lot. Takes a lot of pressure off of LeBron and Davis, takes a lot of pressure off of Walker and Reeves, and even Russ to an extent, right? Because you got a guy that every night could go and get you 15 to 30 consistently. He's proven it his whole career. He's a guy, again, can play on the ball, can play off the ball. I really think Rob Pelinka needs to look, even if it's not Rozier, somebody like that. I don't know who out there that he could get that would be obtainable like Rozier, but I don't know. Rob Pelinka definitely has his work cut out for him, and hopefully he makes a move. But the problem is like, by the 15th, we might be so far behind, it's not even worth doing a trade anymore. So I wouldn't be shocked at all if we don't do a trade, period. Unless it's a deal that helps us now and the future. Like, if it's a deal that like Rob Pelinka is like, okay, like, even if we don't win this year, this is a team that I'm confident in the next few years, right? So let's go do this deal. Maybe you could do something like that. But I don't know. I'm really leaning towards the Hornets deal more than ever before. If you can get PJ Washington, Terry Rozier, and Kelly Oubre, that might be the best deal for the Lakers now. I just think you get what you need. You get your score, you get your help, and the pressure reliever in Rozier. You get that 3-and-D style guy in Oubre, and then you also get PJ Washington. So hopefully they can get that done. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments section below. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? However you feel, good, bad, ugly, somewhere in between. Let me know down in the comments section below.